Way back when I was in, graduating 8th grade, I guess it was, or something like that. My mother says, what do you want to do when you grow up? She said, don't tell me you want to work for a railroad. So I've always been interested in engineering and things of that, civil engineering. So when I was getting out of high school,
Hey, Guy?
to go away to college,
I'm recording.
a friend of mine who was in ROTC and took a brief hiatus from school so he could go away to training. He got a job on the railroad as a towerman. And he continued doing that during summers and vacations, so I would hang out there when I was home, and got to like it. And then when I graduated 5 years later, Uncle Sam was knocking on my door. So I figured, well, I was in the National Guard, so I figured I knew I was going away in a few months. I'll go home, I'll get a job in the railroad, and then when I get out of the Army, I'll get a real job. Well, 37 years later, I was still on the railroad. But on my first night in the railroad, 1972, I'm crossing the tracks to Bound Brook Junction, and there's a huge chemical plant there. My father happened to work there in the building closest to the tower. So we waved to each other, and I got in the tower, got the relief from the fella. He walked away, and I'm thinking, gee, it's all mine now, just me. Next train, first train for me was a passenger train. Then I had a freight coming, we called them B&Os, and it was going down the Reading. And for some reason, it went in emergency and stopped through the interlocking. Now, this is my very first night in railroad, I don't know what's going on. So I go out to check, and then, unknown to me, the superintendent and the road foreman of engines came walking around the corner of the train. And I'm talking to, the engineer went up and talked to them. I was talking to the fireman, who I swear was plastered. But at any rate, I don't know whether it was a test or what, but they got back on the engine, the train went, and then the superintendent and the road foreman started firing questions at me. I don't know, this is my first day here. So, got through that okay. Then 2 days later, I was called in to do a 12-hour job there. I started at 3 o'clock in the morning. And when I got there, Mr. Strasner happened to be the train dispatcher at the time, the extra train dispatcher. And a couple days after that, I'm working second trick at Bound Brook Junction. Very hot day, it's rush hour, evening, and the movable point frog hangs up with a whole rush hour behind it. And I had to throw the movable point frog to get the Reading trains over to the Reading. So finally got a maintainer there. It took about a half hour, but the maintainer got it all straightened out. We got all the trains fine. I was feeling kind of bad about it, but the next day when I come in, I was working third trick. The next day I relieved the second trick guy, and the same thing happened to him. Okay, so I didn't feel so bad. Then we're going to fast forward until about, I don't know, 5 years after that. And I work in third trick. I'm just getting off of third trick. We have another B&O coming. First trick man is on duty. He throws that movable point frog, and it hangs up. So I run out. I said, I'll take a look at it. I run out there, beat it with a hammer, do something like that. Always worked. I says, I'll give you a washout and throw it back and forth, and we'll see how it works. So I gave him the washout, and next thing I know, I hear toot toot, headlight goes on, and the train comes. So, okay, fine, you got the signal. So I'm walking back to the tower, locomotives are just going past me, and I wave, I knew the crew, all that. I get into the tower, and Bill Leon is frantic. He's pointing, I don't have the indication, I don't have the indication. Both of us stick our heads in that little bay window at Brook, right as the locomotives hit the movable point frog. We're waiting for it to go all over the place. Nothing happened. We look back at the machine, the light's on. So That was the scariest moment I had in town.
Yes.
And then maybe, I don't know, it was probably later that same year, I believe it was. It was 1977, summer of '77. I pull into the driveway at Boundbrook Junction down to the tower, and it looked like a maintainers convention. I mean, I swear every maintainer truck you could imagine was down there. This was a couple days before they were going to close the tower, remote control it from the train dispatcher's office. And somebody had set fire to the electrical cabinet. And so for the next, I don't know, 2 months or so, ends up cranking over every switch, spiking them. They told me they were going to send a maintainer out to help do all the spiking and stuff like that during rush hour. Nobody ever showed up. One day I got a call out there from Ed Grady, the signal supervisor. He says, hey, how's it working out with that maintainer I sent out there for rush hour? Wet maintainer. I would do that. So he's driving through town, Boundbrook, and he's driving by on, there's the maintainer truck sitting in front of a bar.
How unusual.
Chiches. So, a couple days after that, I pull in my driveway at home, and there's a black sedan there. The two guys get out. They look like the men in black. They come up to me and they flash their badges. They say FBI. And they say, right there out in the driveway, out by the street, they say something silly like, why don't you save us the trouble of finding out who did this by telling us you did it? So I said something like, well, I wish I could, but I didn't, so I can't. And they didn't believe me. They kept asking me questions. Well, surely you must sleep sometimes at night and stuff like that. And I said, no. So, finally I said, hey, come on in. So I showed them, my timetable collection. I showed them, here's where I make my maps up and the things and all that, Oh, okay, they were satisfied. But incidentally, the third trick towerman at that time was well known for sleeping. So,
Isn't that the third trick was for?
Nighttime was made to be sleeping.
According to what Ralph